Hey,
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, Patrick.
Where are you right now? Are you in Winnipeg?
No, I'm in Toronto. So I live in Toronto. I wanted to go to Winnipeg just to visit family, but all of this kind of came about really quickly, and I can't really go visit family. So yeah, I'm just in Toronto. I'm at my apartment right now, and
Right.
that's where I've been for a month.
That's a sweet city of Winnipeg life boy behind you.
It's like a thing my friends did at some point in time. But don't worry, there was always two of them on every like bridge for safety, and we always made sure there was one if we took one.
So, Unspun, we're still really digging that song. When did the EP drop?
We released the EP officially at the very end of January,
Right. Okay.
like January 31st or something. Yeah,
Right.
everything's kind of been shifted without being able to play live, right? So it's like, okay, how do we like push our content as far as it can go and make the most of these songs in the CP without actually being able to like physically be in front of people playing, which is such a huge part of obviously playing music. So
It's a really solid EP from top to bottom.
thanks, Patrick. That's really cool to hear.
And I know you spent a long time sitting on it, right?
I was just gonna say, yeah, I probably talk about it too much, but yeah, we did. I think that probably happens to most people. I think lately I've been hearing a lot of stories about that where it's like, man, I wrote this like a year and a half ago. So I was like, okay, we're not the only ones. But yeah, no, it was so much fun to make. But looking back, it was a few years ago now, from the time we started the CP. So it's so nice to finally have it out. And it's kind of cool too because having all that time and space go by, it loses its luster for you. Like I do still love all those tracks, but you kind of it kind of like diminishes and you start focusing on other things. So it's cool to have it out because I feel like we're kind of getting all this wicked feedback like that, and it kind of makes us fall in love with it all over again, which is really fun for us.
For the most part, the EP is like I don't know what it is, but your songs are super. They just drive. They move.
They do, which I think is that a good thing?
I think so because there's a couple of those songs that I'll just restart the song as soon as it's over.
Yeah, actually, that's very cool. I hope that New at Drugs would be one of those because
It is.
yeah, when we finished writing that one and listening back to it, we're like, is this going to annoy people because it's just like this loop of something, or is it going to be one of those situations where you're kind of like, oh, that went by really fast, but I liked it and I'll play it again just to kind of see what happened there. Just the way that we were writing, we did most of the writing again with Huxley Workman, and
Hmm.
I think writing with him especially is a lot of fun because if it doesn't excite him, he's just not interested. So it's like it's got to be something you can see his like eyes light up, and it's like that's cool, let's do it, and it's just like go go go, like just kind of catching on to something and just trying not to lose it.
Has this changed Jackie's plans for the next foreseeable future?
For sure, yeah. It's we were kind of we had a festival in Arizona and some
Oh,
other like a show in Chicago, and the cool thing with Dilly Dally and Prancer, there were some really cool shows that we were really excited about that obviously got canceled or postponed, which is a bummer because I think, it kind of takes the wind out of your sails a bit because I feel like most of us started off 2020 and we kind of started to like map out what our year was going to look like and where shows were going to fall in line, and all of that kind of goes away. So we were in New York playing a really cool festival called New Colossus Fest, and it was so much fun. It's such a great festival. It was our first year playing it, but the whole thing kind of unraveled like right near the end, and we had already kind of been on the road leading up to this. So there was a lot of bands that just didn't make it. They just things were kind of all getting really chaotic really quickly, and a bunch of bands didn't show up. And then for the ones that were there, it meant like industry was no longer coming out. So it was a bit of a bummer because for all those reasons where you're trying to get people out to your shows and you're trying to engage with new maybe team members, all of that kind of fell away. But then it made it more about the bands because it was just like, wow, fuck it, we're all stuck here, we're like, we might as well still play, and we ended up just all kind of playing for each other, which was really kind of cool and fun in its own way. But yeah, it was scary because it was like we came out of our hotel room at one point and there was a band that was like, we're out of here, like we're leaving, like all their stuff was packed up, they had like 4 or 5 more shows to play.
when was this?
That was March 13th. And we had already been in New York for other reasons from like the 9th on. So it all kind of it just happened super quickly, and we knew that we were leaving at a safe time and all that, so we decided to finish our shows there and then come home. But they were like, "We're not going to get back into Canada." We were following that closely too, and we felt pretty confident that they would obviously let us in, especially driving. It wasn't like a flying situation, but yeah, it was a real panic, and it happened so fast. And then as soon as I got home, it was like quarantine, and it was crazy. I was talking to my booking agent actually, and he gave me some even more depressing news, which I don't know if artists are thinking about, but I feel like a lot of the contracts that were kind of made for this year's summer festivals or even South by, like those might be honored next year. So now you're looking at, as an artist, how do you then propagate yourself and try to get yourself into festivals who already have a huge backlog of contracts that need to be fulfilled. So it's like I think it's going to be a very, like when you can play live again, it's going to be such a crazy situation for people. You know, all the bands that want to play festivals that weren't even playing them this year are now going to have to face like, well, there's no room for any of you. Is it even going to be possible for bands like us to kind of pick up where we were trying to leave off? Like everything is just being shifted. It's really crazy.
Tell us about the music video release, which is tomorrow, right?
This video, I am so glad that it's finished. I am like so what happened with this video is we actually started it in like fall last year. And we worked on it with the same team that we did our last two videos with. So New at Drugs and Lifetime in a Touch. So Ryan Feist and Dominica Monica. But we just kind of ran out of time, ran out of steam, ran out of money. And we had this whole concept and we filmed so much footage. And then I was the one that had to go and edit it. And
Okay.
by the time I had edited this, and I even talked to Ryan after, and he's like, yeah, I was worried we didn't have enough footage for this one. And that's like the worst thing as an editor, because you're trying to make a video and you know you don't have enough. And so you're kind of just stretching things and using clips that you wouldn't use. So that was kind of a painful process for me, and it took forever. And then by the time I finished it, immediately I was like, I can't use this. I can't use this. And I showed it to a few people on my team, and I was like, as cool as some of these shots are, I just can't use it. The concept wasn't fitting the song, because like a video should make you enjoy the song that much more. So I had to kind of go back to the drawing board and redo the whole thing. But it actually came out working for the better, because what we ended up doing was something we have never done as this band, which is put a bunch of really cool live footage together. So it basically reaches like back from last year up until like our tour over the States and into New York. And just like some really fun footage of shows that we've had, and just kind of some behind the scenes stuff. And I was kind of able to stitch that with some of the shots from the botched video. So I'm happy and proud of what it is now. And I think it kind of shows a little bit of a different side of the band. So yeah, it comes out tomorrow, and I'm so stoked for it to be out.
Well, I'm looking forward to watching tomorrow. And then what are you doing with your isolation?
Isolation. I mean, fuck. Like we've been cooking a lot. My partner and I have been cooking like crazy. I finished a bunch of videos that you'll see us kind of be putting out over the next little while. And as of this week, I've officially started writing again.
Have you guys been watching anything of importance?
We've blown through pretty much everything. I watched Ozark for the first time. Big Jason Bateman fan. I was like, my family was like, you gotta watch Ozark, and I kept putting it off. But we went through all 3 seasons of that, and it's actually a really great show. You know what I'm gonna start doing? My dad forces my mom like once a year to rip through the entire Lord of the Rings series, extended version. So they did that the other day. My dad's like 12 hours later, but Dom's never seen it, and so I think I'm gonna make her watch like all the Lord of the Rings. Another show I just remembered, I just finished Schitt's Creek. I don't know if you ever got into that one. I got into it kind of when it started, and I thought it was kind of great at the beginning, and seeing it all kind of wrap up. It did feel kind of short, but if you get a chance to watch it, it's cool. I mean, I think for Canadians, it's also very cool, because to me, in any artistic industry in Canada, I hate to say this, I love Canada, but you get put in a box. Like, it's so
Yeah.
hard to not be Canadian about what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a really good job of kind of going outside of that, and not seeming like a Canadian television show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's actually a really great show. So give it a watch.
So I've been asking bands what they didn't get on their last grocery shop. Like, is there something you forgot?
No, we've been so good. I'm just gonna lay it out. We were so diligent. We actually, nothing that I've forgotten. Although we've decided that on our last run, there's like a bodega down the street or whatever you call it here, smaller grocery store that we try to support. And we've been doing our like big grocery shop at her place. But then for whatever we can't find, we'll go to like No Frills or Loblaws and wait in line and get the rest of it. And we've been blowing insane amounts of money. We actually like went through it yesterday and we're like, we're spending and eating enough for a family of 4. We need to like slow down.
Yeah.
You know what? There hasn't been much that we haven't been getting, but I will say this, which is really unfortunate and something I already knew, but we've been trying to eat healthy, like we're like, let's use this opportunity to try to eat as healthy as possible. It's so expensive to eat healthy. It's so insane, and I already knew that, but it's like 80% of what we're buying is like fresh produce, and it's so expensive.
Yeah, that's a massive, massive societal issue.
Yeah, and like you think you're like, no, how bad could it be? But I'm like, I'm starting to see it, and it is quite expensive. And like, because that stuff just doesn't last as long as other things, you're like, okay, we gotta cook every day and eat this and eat that, which is fine. But sometimes it doesn't go as far as you want it to, and you're like, yeah, it's kind of crazy. So we've been making stuff the last 2 weeks, which feels like the most you can do.
That's another thing I've thought about recently. Like, what point in life do you decide, you know what, it's time to get a deep freezer?
Yeah, so split these with your neighbor on a deep freezer or something.
Like, it's like you get your license, you get a job, you buy a house, get a deep freezer. Like it seems like a stage of life that I never realized was so important until now.
Especially if this continues, you're right. I think sales on deep freezers are gonna just skyrocket.
Anything you've listened to fresh or maybe rediscovered in the last few weeks? Are you listening to more music than you normally would?
Dude, I mean, I want to say I'm listening to new music, but I'm actually listening to a lot of old music. Like,
No judgment.
I've been diving into a lot of like old Van Morrison and
Oh wow.
yeah, just kind of stuff that my dad would play when we were cooking. But actually, no, Sharon Van Eaton is somebody. Eaton, I don't know what it is, but I've been going nuts over her stuff. This guy, actually, this is a new guy I've been listening to a lot. We played a show with him at that festival in New York. His name is Luke DeCizio, and he's absolutely incredible. He's quite a poet, and watching him live was unreal. So he's been like a new discovery that I've made. That he's so rad.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I have a feeling that this will probably happen again before the great isolation of 2020 is wrapped up.
I would love to have this chat again, Patrick.
Yeah,
although all different content, but same setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
All right, Jackie, thanks so much, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Patrick.